Roll call, I am here. Yolanda is here. Jim is here. Miss Carol is here. And we have an open vacancy. Make a motion to accept the agenda.
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion by Sanchez, seconded by Mr. Bender. All in favor?
Aye.
4 ayes, 1 absent. Do we have any requests?
No, we don't.
I pass the comments. Board communication. Yolanda?
Welcome, everybody. I'm glad you're here this evening. I just want to talk about the next school year, and I know we're going to have a great school year. We have a lot of new teachers and a lot of administrators as well, and everybody's pretty excited about this school year starting out. So I just hope and pray that it won't go well, and I know it will. Thank you.
Okay.
Welcome. So I had a chance to walk around a bunch of the TK meet and greets, the kindergarten meet and greets, and I must say that everything went so smoothly and nicely. Parents were happy, you know, classrooms looked great. I was really pleased with what I saw, and I'm excited about the year starting.
Jim?
I also went through the schools, all the school sites, and I was pretty pleased with what I seen. I seen the staff really coming together and working hard, and it was pretty impressive. I seen classrooms that are still being worked on in a rush because tomorrow's the big day. I believe they're going to get them done and probably still working on them now. I've seen teachers that were excited, ready to go, and that was pretty nice to see. And you know, went through a half a year now of hearing a bunch of negative and garbage stuff, but when it finally coming down and hitting the road, we see these teachers and the staff pulling together, and I was so excited. I was really pleased to see them working and doing all that they were doing. It's like a family that comes together when bad times and starts pulling together and helping each other. It was really impressive, and I really enjoyed talking to all the teachers and the staff. I want to thank them for all their hard work, getting the year going.
I want to welcome everybody back. Tomorrow is a big, busy day, and good luck with all the traffic you guys are going to deal with tomorrow morning, because that's going to be kind of chaos. It always is the first day. I want to thank all the CSEA guys for working really hard this summer, getting everything ready, getting a lot of projects finished up that needed to get done, and we needed the kids out so they could get it done. So I want to really appreciate that, all their hard work of everything they've done over the summer, and everybody else that worked extra hard to get all the classrooms ready and everything for tomorrow. All the teachers, they've got all their classrooms back in order again and be ready to get going. And Mr. Bowman, we've got a whole bunch of teachers for you to mentor now.
Oh, that's another thing we can talk about.
Thanks for the reminder.
I'll put it here.
Now, would you like to talk about that when we get to that point?
I will.
Okay. So with that, we will continue on. RTA.
I don't know, is it your turn to go first?
For sure. Rock, paper, scissors. That's how we solve big issues.
CSEA goes first next time.
Okay.
Several items tonight, mostly all on the good side, which is nice, as Mr. Bender was talking about. First, notes of thanks, Mrs. Robinson. We really appreciate you attending the new student orientation at Tropical Middle School on Monday night. Got a chance to see you there. Mr. Bender, I ran into you yesterday over at Tropical Middle School as you were walking around. Mrs. Sanchez, Mr. Gutierrez, I'm sure you've been at the different sites. I just didn't happen to bump into you, and I know we'll see you out at all the sites over the next week or two. So thank you for being involved and getting out there and seeing, like you said, all of the work going on from CSEA and RTA teachers and people getting ready for the upcoming school year. Secondly, I've had the opportunity to meet now with Mrs. Gaines on a couple of occasions. I hope she's found those meetings to be as positive and beneficial as I have. We're really seeing eye to eye on a number of items as we continue to work together to move forward and take care of any issues that come up and get them handled quickly and easily. And that's the way we're used to doing business here in Southern Kern, and look forward to that happening. So you reminded me about new teachers. Yes, I had the opportunity to meet with all of the new teachers yesterday, 26, 27 of them, getting ready to go on at the school year, talking to them about contractual issues they need to be aware of, not only their rights, but also the expectations that they need to meet within our district under our current contract to make sure that they're ready to go to do a good job for us as well. All of the teachers that I had the opportunity to meet with signed up and became members of RTA, CTA, and NEA, and I'm very pleased that they made that choice to do so. The only issue that I'm sure we're going to face over the course of the next couple of weeks is something we always look at the beginning of every year, is class size. The good part about that is that class sizes at all sites seem to be right where they should be, where we have full classes rather than the tiny classes that put us in this financial situation. The classes are filled, but not overfilled. They're right where they should be, and that's good. But Mrs. Gaines was describing to me about the line of people signing up, new enrollment and new students. And so I'm sure we will have a few class size issues that we'll have to look at over the course of the first 20 days of school, which is that timeline that we have to look at and fix and address problems that need to be handled. And I'm confident that we'll be able to do that. RTA does support those classes being full because that's financially responsible and fiscally efficient. That's what we want to do to get us back on track. But we do not support classes that go over the class size limits because then it starts to impact education. And of course, that's the primary reason that we're here, is to provide the very best education for our students, and class size is a very important part of that. And then lastly, something you've heard me talk about for about the last year now, I've got a little bit of good news on that forefront. We seem to have some movement on the PERB complaint with our 15-month-old tentative agreement on contract language changes. We're starting to see some opportunity for this to get resolved sometime in the next month or so, prior to having to have those formal meetings with PERB. So Barbara and I talked about that, and like I say, I'm optimistic that we might be able to finally put this behind us. So I'm looking forward to that. And like you all said, here we go, starting tomorrow. Yep. Doing what we're all here to do, and we'll do a great job of it. Thank you.
Thank you. CSEA.
Hey everybody. It's good to have everybody start coming back, see all the friendly faces. Everybody looks really nice and refreshed. I think we're going to make it a really good year. Wonderful to see board members out and active and seeing our schools and everything that we do. That's something that we like to see. It's something that you guys like to see, the community likes. So, having you guys active and around is awesome. Keep it up. So I've heard from other CSEA members. They've expressed some concerns regarding the opening of this HR technician position when our schools are still down CSOs, we're down paraeducators, Our office staff is now down to, bare minimum. We only have 2 people in there now. And we're cutting librarians. These are all staff that directly affect the education and well-being of our students. At Roseman Elementary, we have 3 CSOs for 900 students. And again, our office staff is very minimal. We got 2 people running that office, and they're working above and beyond very diligently to try to keep the school functioning. All the meanwhile, district office continues to suffer little to no cutbacks, and our schools take the hit. Our students take the hit again and again. We lose people due to attrition. I understand that we're losing someone, our fiscal advisor, and perhaps that's why we're bringing in this position. But we're all in this together, and perspective, it seems again that district office is not trying to take their part in it. And again, perspective from the CSA standpoint, this looks bad because we're all in the trenches, fighting harder and harder, But again, we're going to make it a great school year no matter what happens. And we're glad to see that we're getting back on track financially, and that maybe within a few years, the fight in the trenches will be a little less. But yeah, thanks for everything that you guys do every day. We appreciate all the hard work from every member at Southern Kern.
CEO report. Sure.
So, working with the county, we did, our numbers looked fairly well, so they decided we could start repaying back our loan. So we paid back $700,000 last month. That's cash that went from us to the county to pay our loan down. That was basically $697 in principal and $20,000 in interest. So about 0.5% interest for that loan. So we are starting to pay down our loan. Hopefully, we probably won't see another payback until the end of this fiscal year. So around next June to July, we can figure out with the county if our cash is in that kind of shape where we can actually start getting more back for the loan. So that's a bit of good news. It's kind of surprising. They just decided on their own. They liked what they saw, so they decided we can pay them back. So I did just get documentation from OPSC about our hardship funding. Their auditors went through our application, and we agreed with their finding that $11.5 million is what we have claimed, and they agreed with that. So we signed off on that and filed with OPSC. So now we're actually in line, so to speak. So, and there's a proposition that's being floated at the state level that might force the state to issue bonds to pay for these construction funds. So that would happen next year. That would go to the voters this November, and then if that gets approved, they'll sell the bonds next year, and then they will fund most of the projects on the hardship fund. A bit of good news.
Yeah, it is.
You got any bad news? No.
I heard something.
The superintendent, Ms. Hargis.
Good evening, and thank you all for coming. As you've heard, Ed Services has been very, very busy with lines out our door. I did want to give some kudos to the ladies in my office, Anna Arias, April, Maya, and Cindy Diaz. They've done a great job working with the families. They're very patient, very kind. Parents come in, they're a little stressed the last couple of days. We've all been, kind of jumping in and helping out with those enrollments, but, they stay late. I had to kind of push them out as I was coming over here. Because they know how hard it is at the school sites, with secretaries and staff. Everybody wants to, have everything set for the first day of school, and these come in, so they really work hard to make sure that that everybody has what they need. So great job to them. We've had some professional development offerings this summer. Mrs. Gaines made arrangements with the Westside School District, so our teachers were invited to participate in some math training. So we 17 teachers that attended, and we heard some great things about that training. Possibly they heard that there's some training next year, so they said, hey, are we going to be able to go? So that was good to hear that they're excited about that. Last week, Thursday and Friday, we had Capturing Kids' Hearts, and I was able to attend that, as was Mrs. Robinson. And Capturing Kids' Hearts is about building relationships, staff and students. So we had a great time. We had 32 total, but we had a few districts that joined us. We had Victorville. We had a couple of teachers come join us there, and then we had 3 teachers come from Barstow. So we had a great time, and it was just really great to get out there and be a part of that. And thank you to Lori Coleman and RTA for putting together the new teacher training. That was very beneficial, and I think the teachers got a lot out of it. So thank you for that. And then today we had some ELD training, and I heard that went pretty good. The ladies from the county were pretty positive. I haven't talked to any staff about that, but they said there was a lot of questions. Teachers wanting copies of their PowerPoints and those kinds of things. So definitely headed in the right direction with that one. And then just some interesting note here. For our VITSA induction program, we have 28 candidates that are, they have a preliminary credential and are ready to move into clearing those credentials. So in the past, we've always had, our mentors, our PIPs, TIPs, and interns, that's the 28. But this year we have those 28 teachers that have credentials, and we only have 9 PIPs and PIPs, TIPs, and interns in the district. So, and of those 28, most of those are people that have gone through being that PIP, STIP, and intern in some Kern. So, that shows that, people are excited to be here. They're happy to work with families and kids. So, I just want to wish every one of you a great day tomorrow and a great school year.
Andrew, what student number?
You know what? Right now we're sitting at about 3,600.
Which is it up from last year?
It's up considerably. I think it was around 30, more than 3,400 last year.
Awesome.
So, once we get into school, there may be a few seats vacant here and there, but it definitely looks like we have an increase in enrollment.
Superintendent's report. Ms. Gaines.
Well, I too want to thank everyone for being here this evening, especially the teachers and the site administrators. I'm, to be honest, kind of surprised that you're not home getting ready for that crazy big day tomorrow, because I know how first days are. You're so excited, but yet it really wears on you a lot. Just getting all the kids in the right classroom is a big deal. So I appreciate everybody coming out this evening. The end is to piggyback on, I have an actual number as of this evening of 3629. So, and I'm sure by tomorrow, if the lines continue, that number could even go up even more, because some people do wait to the last minute, as you know, to. I want to say that I have, every place I've gone the past week, I have been eating, and so thank you to everybody who's invited me to eat. I really need to stop this, because I did not know there were so many great places to eat and so many different activities out here. But we started with the new teacher orientation last Thursday here, and we had it in the cafeteria of the Ascend Academy, Old Ascend Academy, and it was really wonderful to see the new teachers and to see their excitement, and it just kind of took me back to when I was a first-year teacher, and I remember not knowing where there was paper. I felt like such a loose cannon walking around this campus. But our new teachers, I'm really, really impressed with the group, and kudos to the HR department for finding these wonderful people. And so I have a few names I even recognized, actually, who are joining our team, so that was great. And I also attended the WASP visit. It wasn't a WASP visit, but it was a WASP visit with the the WAS site lead came from, he is the principal of Bell High School, and he is going to be the lead at our WAS visit at the high school October 20th through the 23rd. And he was very, very impressed with Roseman High School, especially the CTE programs. The auto shop, he just, I'm sure he's going to go back and try to figure out how he's going to get an auto shop, and also the welding. He just couldn't get over that. He just couldn't stop talking about it. And so I look forward to having him come back, and also meeting the rest of his team starting October 20th. And thank you, Mr. Quellman, for inviting me yesterday to the new teacher luncheon. And it's always a pleasure to sit down and talk with you. And we have a lot of ideas to really mend some fences this year, and I'm looking forward to that. And I want to give an affirmation to Carol, and she'll know what this is. It's very much a part of Capturing Kids' Hearts, because she did attend both days of Capturing Kids' Hearts, and she was there. And so it was great to see her attend and really get an understanding of what that program is all about. And it's really about building relationships with kids and understanding that our kids come from all walks of life, and we can never stop giving up on them. So I think, and then we had our leadership retreat, more food and more excitement all day. And it was great. We had all the directors here and the administrators from the sites and cabinet, and we played a sort of an activity in the beginning of this where we kind of got to know each other a little better. And we learned a few things about people that we had no idea about, so that was kind of fun. And spent the day sort of discussing our focus this year, and also hearing from the different departments. So it's been a great week. Tomorrow I plan on not being in my office and visiting every site and just being out there to see how I can help, even if it's directing students with a map, whatever I can do to make that day go a little easier for the sites. That's pretty much my plan.
Consent item. Does anyone have any questions on any of the items from A to K? Well, you guys are looking through there. On the job description for our human resource tech, is that because we're having to replace one of the positions?
It's basically, that position is a reclassification. As most people know now, we are losing Robert from the business office. And so, and Robert did position control. That was a lot of what the job entailed. So the new position will be an HR position. It actually is just a reclassification, but a lower salary position. The position already existed in the past.
Correct. Just because the question came up.
Yes, yes. So we're not really replacing Robert's position. We're just kind of moving it to HR instead of business office.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else have anything?
I just don't really understand that real clear. If we haven't dealt, it's hard to create. I know we're not creating another position, but we're moving a position over. I have to understand that a little more. Sorry.
And well, Mr. Bender, I'm going to share with you what has been shared with me. Okay. So, and Eric and Leanne, if I miss this a little bit, please feel free to jump in. I understand that previously the HR department had maybe 5 employees in that department. And then when the Robert position came along, it was placed in the business office. And now that Robert's leaving, some of that position control that Robert does work on is also done in HR. So they're just going to kind of move it back and give HR one of the positions that they actually lost a few years ago when Robert was hired.
So he was doing some HR work in his current position now? Yes.
The position control it's a little bit like HR. It's
Yeah.
accountability of the.
He was maintaining the positions and position control. HR maintains the demographic information, position control. What we do, the supervisor for HR will take over the position control because she does have experience in position control. To train in position control and to hire someone who would be able to do the job on day one would just be impossible. There would not be any qualified people to do it. So because that experience is already there won't be any learning curve, so to speak. And it's a really critical role because of our budget is 85 to 90% salaries and benefits. So if your position control isn't being looked at every day, you're not going to have accurate numbers. So it's really critical we have someone in that position that knows what they're doing. And so the technician will alleviate technical work from the supervisor. They'll take over basically clerical work, technical work with spreadsheets and whatnot, so to free them up to take over position control. The other part of the fiscal analyst position was LCFF or LCAP information. A lot of that was done by that position, so it'll be absorbed by the accountant and CBO to update the LCAP information. That's the other critical part of it. So that would be absorbed by those two positions. But it's really, the position control is ultimately what's really important. I want to make sure that someone is looking at that at all times and they have time to do it. Right now, everyone is extremely busy because of all the hiring that's going on, all the transfers. So the technician position is really to alleviate the supervisor to take over that more critical role.
Okay.
So is the business office going to be overseeing the position control still or not?
No, it'll be the supervisor of HR.
Okay, I thought that originally we wanted it both at the business office and at the human resource because of the lack of communication and things weren't getting paid or updated.
Right.
So I think that was one of the reasons why we.
Well, now, because Roberts, or the fiscal analyst, has been doing position control, it is very accurate. It's just a matter of maintaining it now. Before, there was, position control was not very accurate at all. So now it's dialed in. It's just a matter of if there's hiring or people leaving, just go in and note that, yeah. So it was basically redone from scratch, so what we have is current and accurate. That was the most difficult and time-consuming part. Yeah, we wouldn't be able to hire, I mean, the Robert's position is very difficult to find. He was in the position for 1 year and he got promoted into a managerial position at a neighboring district, so to hire someone of that caliber would be very difficult, but because we do have someone with the experience and the knowledge of position control, it's just, for us, it'll be much more easier to have that person do the job rather than try to find someone and train them.
And it can't be, there's too much work for them to just assume that now.
Yeah, the work just won't get done.
Yeah. So, what savings are we gonna have by doing this?
Well, the position,
a number of savings.
the position is a lower paying position, plus going from confidential to the classified bargaining unit, there's less PTO, pay time off. So it is more of a technical position, there's not much analysis in it. So that's kind of the justification for that. And going from confidential to CSEA, that position is really not part of negotiations, so there shouldn't really be any confidential. roughly. It's about $6 an hour, and the pay time off is about 25% less.
Okay, do I have a motion?
I make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Bender, seconded by
I'd say
Ms. Sanchez. All in favor? Aye. One absent. Original appointment to fill seat in the governing board of the Southern Kern Unified School District until the next regular scheduled election. Decision of interim appointment process. That seat would be open until that board member was seated on we have to have it seated by September the 17th of this year. Now, I had a couple of questions and clarifications. Anytime you have a seat open, you can only appoint to the next scheduled election. So the next scheduled election would put, we have two options that we need to look at. We need to appoint somebody to fill the seat, and we have to do it before September the 17th. That part is we can do without any issues. Now, the next scheduled election would be 2020. At that point, we can either fill it in a 4-year position, which would still leave us 3 and 2, or we could fill it for elected for 2 years and then put it on, again, a 2 and a 3, because in 1 year you have 3 elected officials get put up, and on the next cycle it's 2. So to me, it's you still have an odd number either way. So it's whatever you guys want to do on that. But we have time to discuss that when we have a year and a half to figure that out. But hopefully,
Have there been applications so far?
from what I understand, there's been 3 applications pulled.
And someone asked me the procedure, is there a way to go online and apply, or do you have to come down here?
Have to come down here,
Physical.
apply, write your resume, and then we should get a preview of that resume just before the meeting, and then during the meeting, we will do.
Because they asked me today, and
Yeah,
I didn't respond to it yet.
kind of a question and answer.
That's what we need to discuss exactly what our procedure is going to be.
Yeah, I mean, the way we've done it in the past is we take the applications from the public, and then we ask them a few questions during our board meeting, and then we decide who we think that would be the best fit until we actually have the voters fill the seat for us. With that, Sally, do you still have that list of questions that we used on the last? Okay. That way, maybe we can get that in one of our board packets so all the members here can have a copy of that, and they can look over what questions we could ask.
And what's the deadline to submit the application?
August 15th.
August 15th.
And then we'll meet again on
14.
meeting on 14th. So if we get there's questions like 14, and that way we can look them over and everybody can decide what they want to ask and that kind of stuff. Does anybody in the public have any questions about that?
Well, kind of to answer your question, you could probably tell your friend that emailed you. I believe, I could be wrong, but the procedures are on the website on how the steps that you need to be for the, so if you don't, you know, that, just refer that person to the website. Okay.
Yeah, it is on.
I like to find it, and then give them a link.
Right.
To send me the information.
I would be interested in a more complete timeline. So, your next board meeting is the 14th, a week from
It'll
today.
be, yeah,
And then applications are due the 15th.
right.
Then the following meeting is when you would do your interviews,
Do our, and we will elect at that point probably.
and you will appoint at that point. Do you have to, prior to that, decide if it's a 2-year term or a 4-year term, or
No.
you're going to do that over the course of the next?
We'll, at that
This
point,
appointed position will last until a specific point.
till November 2020.
Okay.
The
Because
remainder of
no, not the remainder of where she was elected.
no, I mean for the remainder of this year, which would be November.
Well,
Not
Till
the
the
remain-
next
it was
not the
another
remainder
year,
of the
so it'll be
vacated
almost 18
term.
months.
Policy, yeah.
Not the remainder of the vacated term, but in just for the remainder
next
of,
election.
until the
Till the
next
next
election
election.
through 2020.
Right.
And then in 2020, you're going to have how many seats up for election?
There will be 3 seats.
But you were saying you have a choice to do it in a different way so that it's 2 seats.
Well, yeah, because the seat that is vacated was a 4-year term,
Right.
which, well, then, we can't fill it for a full 4 years. When she was elected, 3 members were elected at that point. What it would do is if we go just, if they, just 2 members being reelected for a 4-year term, we could at that point choose to have the 3rd member can be either elected for a 2-year term or a 4-year term.
Now I understand. Okay. And that's-
Honestly, I would
and
prefer
that's
it to go with a 4-year term.
And that's a board decision.
That's what,
Okay.
because all the state requires is it always be, not everybody at one time.
No more than 3, is that a state requirement? Or- Okay.
Unless you have a 7-member board and
I
then
see.
they can be 4.
Okay.
When I was elected, I was finishing a term that was vacated, so I was elected for 2 years only. So in 2020, I'll be up again for election.
Right, at that point, it would be you and Yolanda, and then possibly the open seat.
I see. Okay, thank you. I understand that.
That's one of the things that I think we could discuss after the new board member is seated, and that way all 5 can decide which way to go. And I'd like to hear some response from the public if they want to do that.
I say every year.
I think I need some clarity. Are you saying that you want, like, the person that you guys elect, you want them to, they have to be up for 2020?
We cannot go past
Oh,
that.
okay. And then you're saying you want whoever gets elected in 2020 by the public is going to have a choice in who that person is. Whereas right in a couple weeks, the public isn't. So that, okay, I'm good, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, and at that point, I think it would be nice to let the public just do a 4-year term for that seat.
And I'm okay with that. I just was thinking that you wanted the person that you guys are electing to be under.
No,
Okay.
And that's
they're gonna finish out until the next election period.
and that's something that the state.
I just wanted some clarity on that.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, okay, that's fine. review of the policies, the first reading for the policies that are listed. Does anyone have any questions on the policies? Mr. Paul, did you get the copies?
I'd have to revisit my email. I'm assuming yes.
Okay.
I read the agenda, I didn't
It's
look at.
all of this.
I read the agenda, I didn't look at the entire packet, but I'm assuming I did.
But this is only the first reading. Business and operation. Approved budget Fund 11, adult education expenditures for fiscal year of 2019-20. Mr. Arik.
So originally, we didn't have a budget for Fund 11, which is for adult education, when we brought the budget in June. That was because we were going to enter into a MOU with AV Union to operate adult education here. But if for whatever reason, if that falls through, and we need to offer adult education ourselves, we need to have a budget approved to do that. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to spend any funds out of Fund 11. So this is the reason for that. I don't anticipate having to. We've got in touch with AV Union today. They do have an MOU that they're going to present to their board soon. But until that happens, we want to make sure.
You have to be prepped and ready to go if it doesn't happen.
Correct.
Okay. Anybody have any questions on
I make a motion to approve the budget Fund 11 for adult education.
that? Motion by Sanchez,
Second?
seconded by Ms. Robinson. All in favor?
Aye.
4 ayes, 1 absent. Approved budget Fund 25, capital facilities expenditures and developer fees for 2019-20.
So this is just an oversight on my part. When I brought the budget, I didn't include Fund 25 in there. I don't know why it wasn't included in there, but in order to spend out of Fund 25, we need to approve a budget. These are developer fees, so anytime someone wants to build a house or add to their house, they pay developer fees. It's a residential and commercial rates. Our residential is about $3.79 a square foot. Commercial is about 61 cents a square foot. So far this year, we've received $45,000 in developer fees. This fiscal year, there's a new program that Kern County put out that you could actually track all the applications for developer fees. So they put out an application for $800,000 in developer fees for the apartment project on the east side of Rosamond. And that's just an application, hasn't been paid yet. So we don't know if they're going to proceed or not.
On the where?
The east side.
Where at?
Near Sierra Highway. I'm not sure about.
On Sierra Highway?
Near.
Near?
I don't think it's on Sierra exactly, but around that area. I'm not sure the exact address, but those developer fees add up to about $800,000. So they took the application, but we haven't seen any money come in. And then we just heard that there's 2, not new developments, but expansions of housing developments in the west side area. So that's about 177 new homes.
Quick question. Okay. Has anybody talked to RCSD whether or not they can actually send water to them? Because the last I had heard, they were maxed out on what they could supply.
I haven't talked to RCSD about it. The last I heard was that they sent the apartment building to the Kern County plan check. So that's where they're at right now. But I think if it comes down to water, they'll find a way to supply it. I don't think that'll be something that would stop the project from going forward.
I remember they were talking about that.
Yeah, it can happen. And if the developer wants to do it, they just buy the water from AVIC. That's what AVIC is for.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. But there are 177 new homes slated to be built out at West Park. So, and the model now is if you buy it, they'll build it rather than just building it out. It'll be a slow process of expansion out there.
And on the north side, west part.
It's on the south side and the west side.
Southwest.
There's two of them, two developments.
So, our schools are pretty full already.
They are.
What plans do we have for expansion?
Well, if we don't get any state money, or if we don't have any more general obligation funds to build actual buildings, we would need to add portable buildings. And that would be paid through developer fees. So,
We're out of space.
yeah. The playground will get smaller at West Park.
It's like, okay, at Roseman, where are you gonna put, you have no more room over there.
980 last year. We're expecting at least 1,000 this year.
Wow.
Does that mean we'll go back?
And West Park, they don't have any room over there.
Yeah, we're already using
Well, we spent a lot of money on that
Anything
field.
just construction.
So you'll go back using the.
we're using them already.
Oh, are you really?
Yeah, we're using both sides.
How many classrooms are you?
On the east campus, we're running a college there. So it's main campus and east campus. East campus, I think, has maybe 7 or 8 still left.
10 classrooms are being
Yeah,
utilized.
yeah. So we have 10 that are being used with special services and other things, so. Yeah, we're,
Yeah, we actually need to get a 5-year plan going again. We're year 5 of,
We really need to do a facilities master plan.
yes, we do. And I believe I'm on it. We need to sit down and,
I think for the long run, we need to have one so we can fund projects. So we need to actually do an RFQ to get some vendors bidding on it. Feel we can choose a vendor that we're comfortable with for a facilities master plan. But it's critical for us, we don't have one, and we're just funding projects as we go along. It's better if we have a plan. But to answer your question, Mr. Bender, developer fees are really to accommodate expansion. So basically, the idea is if you build a house, you're adding kids to the school district, so that money is supposed to go towards accommodating that growth, so to speak. That's what really developer fees are supposed to be spent on.
and that money cannot be spent on anything but.
And that's permanent buildings, that's not portables.
No. It's any way that you can get children in, because the 375 will not, per square foot will not build a permanent classroom. Yeah. Okay. Anybody make a motion on approving the budget for Fund 25? Motion by Mr. Bender.
Second.
Second by Ms. Sanchez. All in favor? All ayes, no absent. Personnel. Anybody have any questions on the personnel that is listed?
I have a question.
Yes.
I don't understand the status things. It says hire layoff. Is it hiring or is it layoff? or-
And bump layoff?
Yeah,
Yeah.
what do those mean? I have no clue.
Eric, would you clarify that for us?
Sure. The status, so the first part of that status is what the actual action is. The second part is what was the action. So because things were moving so quickly, they weren't able to say like the first one says layoff, that never came to the board. And so they were laid off, but now they're bumping someone, so they have a position available.
So they're laid off as a paraeducator and now they're hired on as a campus safety officer. The first one.
Yeah. So like the higher layoff for the attendance clerk, they were laid off in their previous position, but they're being hired as an attendance clerk. That's kind of how it's showing.
Okay, so the position, the first is where they're going?
Second.
Oh, second is where they're going? The first is where they got laid off from, and then they bump into the other. Okay.
Did they bump anybody out of that other?
I can't tell you off the top of my head, but because it says bump, I'm gonna say yes.
So, so let's just take the first one, became a safety officer. So apparently she was a safety officer before, and she had a right to go back to that?
Okay. I was gonna ask basically the same thing. No, because I thought, let's do it.
And can you explain about the library media technicians? Are we having library media technicians or not? Or just reducing their hours?
They have reduced hours.
So what is the status of the libraries at all the schools?
Well, the primary schools do have libraries still operating with just reduced hours. And I think the secondary libraries won't have any library techs.
But they still have,
And there is no library at the high school. I mean, the room is there, but there's nothing.
right, but can't they still do
Overdrive.
digital books?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Overdrive.
basically it's a digital library, basically? No?
Yes, you can, but we've talked over and over and over again about the benefits of having real books in a real library. And when I ask middle school students over and over, they tell me they prefer real books. There are,
I do too.
there are problems with the Overdrive digital library that we've brought up repeatedly. Limits on the number of books a kid can have, the amount of time they can have it. That doesn't exist when you have a book. So, yeah, it's, as a teacher at Tropico, it's a serious impact. Not having libraries available. We discussed it today, how we can still get kids into the library so that they can get books to read and use for, with accelerated reader or other applications. But it's not a good situation. And Overdrive is not everything it's cracked up to be.
We'll have to look into that.
And kids tell me over and over, they prefer regular books.
Yeah, I know I do. That's me. I'm old.
Well, I don't understand a library without books. I'm old school, I guess. or
No,
stupid.
they have the books. They have the library and they have the books. They don't have anybody to run the library.
We don't have a librarian?
No
Exactly.
librarians. That's the
Yeah.
point.
We might as well not have a library then, right? We need to look into
It's a room with books, but
That's
you
what
gotta
I'm
take the
saying.
kids
We're
to
gonna
it.
have to look
Okay, put that on our list to look into.
into it.
Right after elementary PE.
Right
Right.
up there.
That would be-
Well, I think the library might be a little bit more important.
Okay, okay, so, there's no motion.
I got a little question on the hiring too. Again, coaches are very, very, very important. I guess the teachers have first choice at it. But it looks like we got several teachers. I know they're different, like here we got head coach for cross country and head coach for track. They got 12%. Are they pretty close to the same thing? The kids are out there running? I mean, is it different? Is there that big of a difference, or?
It's 2 different seasons.
Yeah, they're
Two
different
seasons, yeah.
So
seasons.
they're 2 different seasons?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
cross-country
One is at the beginning
is
of
in
the
the
year.
fall, track is in the
Right.
spring.
right, and then in track, you have all the field events also, rather than just running.
Cross country.
The cross-country, you're up in the mountains, running giving trails and that kind of stuff.
That can't all be grouped into one?
No,
One,
totally different.
One teacher, one stipend?
It's a lot of work.
Is
My
it?
daughter did it for a couple of years, and I tried running with her, I go with my.
I ran it, but I never got paid for it. Okay.
Okay. Since there is no, I'll make a motion that we accept the,
Are we not having other teachers that might be interested too? Like, I'm trying to find it right now, but we have, Tropico, right here. Head coach, she's the same person for head coach for the girls basketball and the boys volleyball. We can't share that?
Maybe the only person that applied.
No one else applied?
You have to check with HR, but I mean, that's, chances are nobody else
No one applied, no one else wants to do it,
it's hard to get coaches sometimes.
huh?
So, I'll make a motion that we accept the personnel as written.
I second it.
I got one more question about this department chair math guy.
Are we sure we want to give him more money?
Yes. All in favor?
Aye.
He's way qualified for that.
I'll leave your.
Oh, wait a second, I'm sorry. I didn't see it, I was looking for it, I just seen,
Yeah, they.
Charlie Wallace.
It wasn't there, so I just had to make it.
no, our cadet corps teacher for Tropical. Did we find that and did we hire one and are we good to go? Because we started the year with it, right?
Yeah, because he's on here.
Is he on here?
Yes, he's on here 3 times.
Is he? I missed him. I got, Charlie was the high school, right?
Yeah, I believe he's in high school.
And then the one for Tropical School. We did find one,
I'm pretty confident we did.
okay.
They just haven't gone through the process of getting hired yet. I think they're still committed to their current position, but once that commitment is up, we'll be able to hire them.
And it's I heard he's from the program, and
Right.
so it sounds like we got a good one.
Yeah, he's well experienced.
I can't wait to see that get going.
So hopefully that doesn't fall through.
Yes.
Okay.
Because we already have kids enrolled in the class.
Okay. I make a motion, we adjourn.
I second it.
Motion by Fender, second by second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 4 ayes, 1 absent. Time is 8:14.